What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 15 of the Procedurally Generated Show, the show about the random history of video games. My name is Chris Weber. I'm here with John Carson.
Hey, Chris. How's it going?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It's cold.
It is cold. It's chilly.
Today, Today I had the conversation in the chat where I'm like, this is it. This is the week where I'm like, I don't care what happens going forward. I need warmth right now.
My car died two days ago, so I need to jump it tomorrow probably to try to get to work.
I think it's just the battery, right? It's cold.
Yeah, I think it's the battery.
Right.
It happens every year around this time. I always lose access to my vehicle somehow. This time it's just the traditional. It's too cold to start, even though it was like 7 degrees when I tried to start it today. And apparently that was still too cold. So
7. That's sadly that's the balmy part of the day.
Yeah, it was nice and warm. I was actually surprised.
Yeah. T-shirt and shorts.
But yeah, luckily we have 2 cars, so I can get around with my wife's car if I want to. But I like driving my car more.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My wife has an SUV, and it's fine, but I actually like my car better in the snow. I don't know, since I have a tiny little Chevy Cruze, and I feel like I'm more in control of like my little vehicle and stuff.
Yeah, I have a Chevy Impala. No, I don't. I have a Toyota Camry. I don't know why I thought it was an Impala there for a second. That was really dumb. Anyways,
Chevy Impala. Wait,
no, I don't.
This is my car. I have a BMX.
My wife has a Ford Fiesta, so it's a tiny car.
Yeah.
So I just like the traction of my car better in the cold and the snow.
And my car is like it knows my Bluetooth phone as soon as I get in. I don't have to mess with anything. Kate's has Bluetooth, but it's like hers is like the first phone. So if I get in her car, then my Bluetooth doesn't connect, and I got to push the buttons. I'm just like, my car knows me. My car loves me. So it's
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cold. Hopefully it'll get warmer.
Yes, God, please.
I'm glad that we're just starting out with the weather this week. That's the exciting lineup that we have for episode 15.
Well, I mean, when you have high temperatures that are still below zero, in a couple of days, like that's where winter. I don't like winter at all. As soon as Christmas is done, snow can go away. Fine. But I can deal with it. I can get over it. But it's a week like this where I'm just like, I'm going to move. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
Like
I have some really bad news for you. It's always like the couple of months after Christmas where it's the worst.
True.
It's usually pretty mild until Christmas now. And then after Christmas, it's like, it's either going to dump snow on you or it's going to be -40.
Yeah.
You name it.
I'm setting myself up for failure. If I could just temper my expectations, I could be like, maybe, what if it's just crappy until Valentine's Day? That way, it's still not going to be good after that. But it's less of a blow.
Let me tell you about the 20 inches of snow we're going to get in April.
John, I swear to God, I'll shut this thing down right now, and we won't even have a show this week.
Chris, have you thought about moving to other states? Like,
I've lived in other states.
What other states have you lived in?
Michigan. That was.
I mean that doesn't.
That was
count.
not the play. Yeah,
that doesn't count.
Baltimore is not a state. Maryland is a state, but I lived in Baltimore.
Great. How long did you live in Baltimore for?
It was a little less than a year. It wasn't long. I was out there actually teaching tennis at a country club.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah,
that sounds fun.
It wasn't too bad.
That's probably just a little bit warmer, a little bit more wet, I'm guessing. Of a climate.
Yeah, I was there like the perfect time. Well, that wasn't perfect. It was the most imperfect time because I came back to Minnesota when it was cold. I was there during the warm to hot months. Yeah, and then left. I mean, it still gets icy and a little bit of little snowy down there, but it's obviously nothing like what we deal with. So,
no.
Anyways, I'm here now.
You should try like south more. Do you like a Nashville or something?
Oh no.
What? You don't want to move to... Actually,
I've never been to Nashville. That's not fair. No, I have been to Nashville, but I
really like Nashville. my wife has family down there, so we've been to visit them a few times, and uh the people there are nice, the town's nice, like the weather's great.
Yeah,
um
I don't know why my first instinct was because
I mean, because it's Tennessee.
I've
I
heard
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, but I've actually heard really good things about Nashville. I want my first
Yeah,
instinct to be like, yeah,
I mean,
Nashville.
Chris, there's gonna be people there that you might not get along with, but I feel like the pros outweigh the cons in this
Okay,
case.
and
um
that's what
Great
it's.
food. Oh, the food there's amazing.
I do
There's
like
always
food.
live music.
Music also is
uh
good.
Live music and great food at the same
Oh,
time.
I can't imagine.
Can't be beat. Also, they freak out if there's an inch of snow on the ground and everything shuts down.
Well, that'll just be fun to watch.
I was there for work a few years ago, and they got maybe 2 inches of snow, maybe three, and everything shut. Like Pizza Hut shut down. Like I could not, I could not get dinner uh, anywhere around my hotel while I was there.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it was insane. Nothing to to plow sidewalks or the streets. There's maybe like one plow going around the city. it was it was disgusting. So that's not an average winter there.
Right. I still
They
ha-
might
I
get a
still have
dusting.
flashbacks. I think in like, oh my gosh, early 2000s, something like maybe late 2000s. I don't remember, but Georgia got hit with
Uh-huh.
like a snowstorm.
Yes.
It's snowstorm. It dropped like 2 inches of snow, and people
Yeah.
were like stuck on the freeways
There
for
was
days. Like,
Yeah, there were like 3 days worth of traffic. Like everyone just like ditched their cars on the streets. They're like, we're never getting through this.
I was just
We'll
like,
wait till this
what?
melts.
Oh God,
They,
that
I mean,
was
they just don't have the infrastructure to deal with it. Like they
no,
don't
they
have ways
don't.
of treating the roads. They don't have the army of plows that we do. They just don't have ways of dealing with it, which makes sense given the climate.
Yeah, I mean,
You're It's not something you're typically going to deal with. Uh, I mean, we don't have hurricane windows. So
I didn't even know they made such a thing.
yeah, you should watch. What was the show that I was watching? It was like a Vanilla Ice show where
Oh
like he was going and like
yeah,
renovating houses, and he would throw like hurricane windows and hurricane doors on like every house that he was rebuilding because they're in
so
Florida.
nothing
Like all
else
the
on
houses
TV
were in
that night,
Florida.
huh?
No, no, I watched like the entire series.
Oh, John, God, you think you
Uh,
know somebody? Unbelievable.
Listen, sometimes you get to the bottom of the
Clearly,
basket of
you've
shows.
watched you've experienced every other form of entertainment, and
Oh,
all
I
that's
sure
left is
haven't.
the Vanilla Ice
I
show
sure
where he
haven't.
fixes houses.
I make poor decisions. I mean,
Oh man,
I think I would rather watch that Vanilla Ice show than like most other house flipping shows.
I don't think
'Cause
I could. I don't think I could say that with a straight face.
I,
I don't. Nope.
the thing I think I liked about it was there's a like I think it was a whole season going over like one house. So they would like break down different aspects of rebuilding or like just remodeling the house. Like, oh, this one's like the theater room, so we're like revamping this whole room to be like a home theater, or we're putting in a zip line and a pool.
If every montage of tearing apart and rebuilding had Ninja Rap playing over it,
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Mm-hmm.
consider it.
Okay.
That's
What
yeah.
if the guy who did Ninja Rap was just like painting a wall?
No, thank you. No.
Okay. All right. Well, teach their own.
Yep.
Teach their own. Uh,
Well, speaking of all those other forms of entertainment
sure. Yep.
that you could be enjoying, what have you been playing this week?
Oh man. So a big game came out last week. I'm currently playing East 9 Monster from Nox for the PlayStation 4th.
I've been eager to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Yes, go please.
So we played the demo a few weeks back, correct?
Yes,
Like you played
we
it.
did.
And it gives you 2 different sections that you could play through. It gives you like a pretty random smattering of characters and skills. And they just kind of like toss you in and like, here you go, here's some dungeons, play for a bit, we're gonna cut it off in like 10 minutes. And I didn't really like those demos because I don't think they didn't really teach you much about the game,
Mhm.
or the characters, or or anything. Like, I feel like the better demo would have been just starting you at the very, very beginning of the game and then just playing like that opening section. I think
Exactly.
you would.
The Dragon Quest 11 method.
Yes. Yep. Um, yeah. Have you continue the save or something? It's
Yeah.
not that it's not that important. Um, but having like that on ramp of like learning who these characters are and building up like what kind of moves and stuff you can use helps a lot for learning the flow of the game and the gameplay. Um, which the gameplay, you'll be surprised to hear, Chris, is very much like Ys 8.
That is
um,
exactly why I didn't have that much fun with the demo, because I was like the the combat and the stuff like that, like the combat, the just walking around bits, like that's not
yeah,
what drew me. Ys 8 is the only one I've ever played. Like full disclaimer, I haven't played all of them.
yeah,
But I mean, if I'm gonna play Ys 9, it's not because of that. I want to know more about the world. I want to know kind of what's the Ys 8 setting. Oh, couldn't get enough of it. I loved
it's
it.
great.
That's the thing
Yeah,
that pushed me through that game. And the demo was pulling on things that I was just like, this doesn't do anything for me.
yeah. So the places in the demo are dungeons that you go through to get like into a prison. That's in the center of the main town that East 9 takes place in. So at the beginning of the game, Adol and Dogi, two of the main characters from the series, if people aren't familiar, show up at this town, that's like this famous prison town, and uh, Adol gets arrested for just being suspicious.
Hmm.
For like the people there have like heard of his exploits and like all the things that he's been involved with, including the island of Siren from Ys 8. And they're like, we've got some questions for you, we're going to take you into custody. So um the very, very, that happens after the beginning. The beginning is Adol's breaking out of the prison. uh and so you go through like the breaking out process, you start learning the controls, and something happens that changes Adol. Um, and then you go to like the past stuff where you see him getting arrested, uh, and then you're out in the greater town. So the way that East 8 worked was, your base camp is literally a camp on this deserted island, and everywhere around you is uh different areas to explore, like different monsters to see, different like tropical island tropes, or like mountains or caves. And in this game it's an entire city. um so they kind of play more on the open world aspect of it, um but they lock you off from different sections of the city with like invisible barriers due to the change that had happened when you escaped the prison.
Okay.
um That's where you meet characters called the Monstrums, who are mysteriously given powers and uh, are supposed to kill monsters in this thing called the Grimwald Nox, which is like a reality that exists outside of the normal reality. It's a lot. I don't really want to get into it.
So how far into it do you think you are?
I'm like 5-6 hours. I'm in
Okay.
chapter 4.
And
Um,
you're positive on this so far?
I am. I am.
Okay.
So like I said, the exploration is very different from 8. I actually like 8 as an introduction because like
2-9. Okay.
2-9, in that I really like the exploration of the world in 8, and like that whole setting, and like learning who Dogi and Adel are, because those were my first experiences with those characters. They've been around for years and years and years. There's like there's 7 other East games with Adel in them. He's been everywhere. So like learning what their exploits are and that he's an adventurer and that he has a past. And like everything that happened in there, and then going into this game and them referencing things that happen in 8. Even though this happens technically a game or two after 8, the East timeline is not a straight line. So it's nice to just like know who those characters are and like what they've been up to in the past, and it kind of helps to set the stage for why they'd be investigated by this army in this prison town.
Well,
But like this world is very very different from 8. I like the adventurous nature of 8 is very cool, but in East 9, like the adventure is, or like what's the best way to say this? It's less wilderness and more learning about the city itself and navigating the city. It's more of a like a Western RPG in that aspect.
okay.
Where it's all about knights and this castle town and
So whereas like, I mean, I guess this wouldn't fit either, but I was thinking like, whereas the island in Ys 8 was almost more of the character, it's. I guess the city is essentially replacing the island. It's still the. I don't know. It always felt to me in 8 as I was playing that the island was always a focus more over the characters.
yes. And in this, it's more the characters
More the
and
characters. Okay.
and the city itself kind of being a not the city being a character, but the city facilitating the characters in a different way than the island did.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because like there are residents who have been here forever. There's a whole history to this town and the different. There's like a band of holy knights. There's everyone that's involved with the prison. There's different shop owners who have been there and established themselves for years and years. And you get to know them. One of the things that I find nicer about East 9 is that in East 8, your characters kind of grew as time went on, like what kind of gear that they got, like would just like naturally get new weapons. You know what I mean?
Yep.
With this, like there's vendors everywhere. You can buy different gear.
Okay.
The gear is a lot more varied. I know I played it in the, all right. I know I ran into it in the demo. I haven't run into it in the game yet, but you can actually change the characteristics of your characters because of like the different weapon types that they have. So like Adol has a slashing attack. Another character named Hawk has a piercing attack, and this other character named the White Cat has what do they call it? It's more of like a smash, like a blunt attack.
Okay.
And those have different effects on enemies. You can actually get items to change the characteristics of those characters' attacks to change up your team a bit. I only have 3 characters, and they all just magically fit those 3 styles right now. So I haven't really had to play around with that stuff yet. But
Okay.
yeah, it's good.
Well,
I like I said, I would probably recommend actually playing through 8 before starting 9, just for those like character intricacies. But there's a cool mystery with everything. The combat's pretty much the same, which I think is very good, and all the characters are cool so far, and I'm liking where things are going. So
very cool.
yeah, he's
I was going to hold off a little bit because of some of the stuff that I heard, but I'm still planning on
I
featuring
also
on the
like
channel at some point.
you have just finished East 8 like
Yeah, that was the other thing too.
2 months ago. Like you could probably wait a bit.
And it was like
missing much, but
I mean, it was probably closer to 6 months ago now, but
was
yeah.
it?
6 to 8. Yeah,
Wow.
it was a while ago.
This
But that
the
being said,
last
I
year's been
still
like a time warp. I have no idea.
that was probably one thing the demo was good for me was realizing that I'm not ready to jump back into an ease game quite yet. So
Yeah,
um,
and I think it did that for me too. But like jumping in from the start and like getting those story hooks, they're
felt
really
better.
good at those like opening story hooks.
Okay,
Yeah, I liked it. So
perfect. What
yeah.
else have you been up to besides Ease 9?
Oh my gosh. Let me look at my list here. Oh, before bed, I've been playing Captain Toad Treasure Tracker
Oh, very cool. Okay.
for the Switch. I'm only a few levels in, but that game's a lot of fun. Uh, some neat little puzzles in there. I think they've added some stuff from the Wii U release. But I haven't really, I never really played that version, so I don't know what's different. But yeah, Captain Toad's really fun. Glad that they blew it out into its own game. Because that was originally a 3D World thing, right? I think
I
it was
mean,
like special levels in Mario 3D World.
I don't know for sure. I just
Sure.
noticed. I just know that I played Mario Galaxy, finished it up, and the little treasure tracker guy looks like he was in that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's him. I don't know
Um,
if that's canon or not, but
it
he
might
had the
be.
little spotlight on his forehead.
Okay. It
So
might be.
yeah,
Maybe. I think it's 3D World that he's in. Anyways,
we'll find out in a couple of
yeah.
days.
Other than that, I bought a bunch of the Digimon card game packs.
All right, because that's what you need is another card game to get
Yes,
yourself
of
into.
course. So I found some of the starter decks at Target a few days ago, and apparently this game's been like delayed a few times. And I don't know if they were supposed to have them yet. Whatever. Like I looked online, and everything was like still pre-sale, and the decks were like $40 to $60 a piece. I'm like, that's definitely not what I paid.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, these are just like $10 each. So I picked up some of them, and I downloaded the app on my phone. It's weird about Bandai Namco is like for their card games they've had a pretty recent Dragon Ball card game, and now they're coming out with this. They'll put out an app for smartphones to teach you how to play the game. That's like pretty fully featured with like animations and like the game playing like it should, but they don't actually let you play the game itself on the app. Like it'll just let you play enough to like teach you what it is, but it's not like a full blown client to play the game.
Interesting.
Which I think in these days where you can't play things locally, they should probably just make that a digital card game. It seems fun. Um, the whole gist of it is digivolving Digimon and putting them on the battlefield to then attack your opponent. It's like any other card game. I don't really know all the intricacies of it because I've only played the the tutorial on the app, but I'm interested to play more. So I have 3 of these starter decks. I bought another booster pack that I was able to find. So I have a stack of cards, and I just need to figure out how to play this with people. But that should be coming out pretty soon. Hopefully, distribution is cleared up in the next couple of weeks, and they actually get this out to people, so it's not like $80 for a deck.
So you are all done. You are completely. You have pulled the plug on Magic entirely. You'll never play the game again.
That's yep.
Because
Definitely did not play earlier today, or every day for the last week. Actually, speaking of card games, I saw that Blizzard announced today that they're making some changes to Hearthstone that I think are pretty smart. Actually, it's something that I'm really into as like just a quality of life change that they're making, and they are like basically any cards that you could play with in Hearthstone currently are cards from the like sets that have come out in the last year, and then their basic card set, which like still has booster packs that you have to buy, and then randomly get cards from it. what they're doing is they're taking all of the basic set stuff away, and they're making a yearly core set, which with like 150 cards. It's free to everyone. So you could just like have this core set of cards, and start deck building from those. And then the only cards that you need to worry about having to like buy or access are the like the expansions that come out every 4 months or so. Every time that I go back to Hearthstone, I always forget about the basic set, so I'm always worried about like whatever's in the new sets. And when I go to like deck building, I never really think about the basic stuff. So it's nice that they just give you that now, instead of having to acquire it through other means. They're also bringing back what they call Classic, and it's the original Hearthstone set, as its own format. So I don't know if that's included with this core set stuff, like for like just giving out all the cards for free or not. But I think it's cool that after doing like World of Warcraft Classic, seeing what the original World of Warcraft was like, they're doing it with Hearthstone to see what like that, what every card was originally like back in 2014 when the game came out. So.
We're out of ideas. Start over. Perfect.
What's the meta from 2014? That's what I'm about to solve. But yeah, I guess all of that, all of those changes go into effect when the next expansion comes out, and I'm sure that'll be announced next Friday, the 19th, 18th, 19th. The 19th of February is when BlizzCon starts. So that's it. That's all I've really got.
All right.
Which is more than the last few weeks. So
that is true. You've kept yourself busy.
I have. Chris, what have you been doing?
Well, I've been getting off of Pokemon. We did that for a couple days on the channel. I initially, yeah, I know. I think a lot of people are, but initially I got into it. It was somebody redeemed channel points, and I actually was really liking it the first couple of days. This is what happened though. This is the first Pokemon game that I've played in 20 years.
Yeah.
The last one that I had played was Pokemon Gold, which somebody had to remind me that Pokemon Gold was a thing, because initially I thought it was Pokemon Red, and then they're like, "Whoa, didn't you ever play Gold?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that existed. I guess I did play Gold." But yeah, 20 years. So 900 million Pokemon have been introduced in that time. I don't know if you guys know that. Yeah.
At least
yeah. So I picked Grookey. I was Team Grookey. It's a monkey. I didn't have a choice in the matter. It was a monkey, and it was.
You didn't want the sad lizard?
Yeah, right. No, we were doing the monkey.
Sobble was my choice originally.
But and I've been waiting for a Pokemon. I'd always told myself, like, I'm going to play a Pokemon that is like kind of an open world 3D action RPG sort of a thing, like not action RPG, like RPG with turn-based, Pokemon battles, but just something where I can explore the world a little bit. And I thought that for such a long time that I started to think that when I thought about it initially, it was a great idea at the time.
Yeah.
But having not played the last, I don't know, 7, 8 Pokemon iterations that have come out, I don't know how many there is. There are so many Pokemon in that game that I just like, I am so disconnected from all of these. I don't know what anything is. There's just all of, I felt like I should be playing that game with the knowledge and understanding of having played all of the previous games and having skipped 80% of the games that have ever been released. I was just, it was too overwhelming. Like, the common thing is just, got to catch them all. And I was just like, at the point where I'm like, my Pokemon are fine.
Yeah.
The fights are starting to get a little harder. I don't really want to catch stronger Pokemon, because that was the thing where I was like, you can catch stronger Pokemon, you can have better fortune in these
Yeah.
battles. And I'm like, I don't really want to catch any more Pokemon. I don't know. I just there's so many. Every fight was a different Pokemon. I didn't know anything about them. And I'm like, I think I hit my end. So we made it as far as hammer points.
Hammerstoke?
Is that what it is? No, it's Motorstoke.
Motor, yeah.
And then the second town is like Hammerfall or something like that. I made it to there, and then I was just like, you know what? The interest has waned, and I don't think it's coming back. I would be doing myself and my viewers a disservice by continuing to play this game. So we put the kibosh on Pokemon. So I started a new game on Thursday of last week. Which is a
Pokemon, right?
No, not that game.
Okay.
No, I started a game on Thursday. First game from a new studio. I had seen some trailers for it, and I was like, I think this could be good. I'm gonna give it a shot. It's a game called Blue Fire. This game is awesome. I love it. It is a Zelda-like 3D platformer. It's got some combat in there. Combat's not the main focus.
Wait. You just threw Zelda and platformer together.
Well, when you look at it visually, you're going to be reminded of Zelda.
Yes.
But yes,
it looks like you look like your Deku Link from.
You do, yeah.
From Majora's Mask.
I think the best way to explain it is it's a cross between Zelda and Hollow Knight.
Sure.
So Zelda, the platforming, and maybe the combat. I don't know. I don't think it goes that far, but the platforming, even the character, just kind of vibe and stuff. The world and all that stuff. It reminds me of a 3D Hollow Knight. But yeah, it's got some Souls aspects to it with fire shrines that you can save at and regenerate. I don't know if they actually regenerate enemies around you, but you can do fast travel from different points. And I love this game.
Good.
I have been having a really, really good time with it. It's again, the focus is more on the platforming and the exploration. I would say combat is there, but it's kind of a secondary thing. It's necessary in some spots, but it's, there are boss fights, but they're nothing too challenging. It has these areas called voids, which they come in 5-star ratings from 1 to 5. I got to my first 5-star today, and I worked on it on stream for at least an hour and a half. And I was getting close, and I was like, just a couple decisions here and there. Like, they don't have a checkpoint within these voids. The point is to pick up these 30 orbs by challenging these platforming sections. There's no enemies in there. There's no combat at all. It's just platforming. And it's not frustrating to lose at those, because it's always things that you can do. The mechanics are sound enough to pull it off. It's just, you just didn't quite line it up right. It's sure. The answer's there. You just gotta get it. So, there's a bunch of those voids that you can do. The game, the world is mysterious. It kind of draws on Souls games in that regard as well, where like this world and the story is just kind of, it's not quite as obscure. You kind of what you're doing, but it's just kind of a really mysterious, atmospheric type experience, and it's great. I absolutely enjoy it. If you guys do yourselves, if you're into 3D platformers, and don't mind a challenge, this is a fantastic game, and it's $20. It's $20. It's on Switch and it's on PC. So
it's awesome.
I'm not done with that yet. One thing that I have to say, and it's not like I have it's not like I'm telling everybody who read the reviews, but the review, like, some people are knocking it for its length, saying that, this game can be beaten in 10 hours. It's maybe not worth the money. No way can you beat this game in 10 hours. I don't know who that reviewer was. Also,
10 hours sounds like an incredible amount of time.
That's also true. Yeah. And it shouldn't be knocked for that anyway, because the game is fantastic. Even if it was 10 hours, I would not be disappointed. But I'm about 40% through, and I'm at 13 hours. So, and I'm being thorough. I'm taking my time. I don't know if I'll go full completionist or anything like that.
Sure.
On the Switch, I don't even think I can. I mean, I guess I can tell. I think I might have bugged one of the dungeons. I think there's something I can't get in it, which doesn't bother me. It's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
I love this game. I'm enjoying it so much. Again, I think this game will last me at least 20 hours, and I am perfectly okay with that. So
Yeah, I've been staying kind of dark on it because I think I want to play it at some point.
yeah, I would. Oh my god, I would encourage you to do so. Everything
Yeah.
feels really really good. It is very precise.
Kind of want to know what the difference is between the PC and the Switch versions. Like you're playing on Switch, correct?
I'm playing on Switch, so I actually
Okay.
reached out before it released,
Yeah.
and I got a DM back from the developers,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that the most notable change is the frame rate. Switch is locked at 30, PC goes up to 60.
Okay.
Now
It's
playing on
not
the Switch at
awful.
30, no problem.
No, it always looked good whenever I
Yeah,
popped into your stream and you were playing it. So yeah,
yeah, no,
cool.
maybe it's smoother on PC, but I did have one. I had one hard crash on the first day.
Yeah, I heard that there were some technical things like that, and you had another part in a dungeon where you were worried about
I was worried about a game
having
breaking
it.
bug, which
Yes.
it didn't affect me. It affected me for a second. There's an area we got to raise and lower water, and at the to finish it, you got to climb back out to the top, and the issue was when you get to the top of the ladder, the water reset and it killed you instantly.
Oh.
And if the water reset, you were screwed. You basically had to start a new game. My water did reset, but when I came back from where I spawned, I was able to lower it again, and it was all fine. So
Huh.
I don't know. It worked out
Weird.
just fine for me. So maybe it's less of an issue than was first brought up. But yeah, if you guys, I fully endorse playing Blue Fire.
Cool.
And then I started another small game, just a little,
Yeah.
you
Tiny,
know,
like a short little jaunt.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm
You're like,
halfway
I'm gonna
through.
leave Pokemon behind, this sweeping epic of a game, and gonna play something small.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing, no similarities to Pokemon at all.
No.
We started up Persona 5 on Friday. And we're playing Persona 5 Royal, so
Mm-hmm.
the bigger version of the also already ginormous game. But this game, I've played Persona 5 in the past. I made it about 20 hours in, and there are some things that really drove me nuts about it. I loved the world. I loved the characters. I think I was so into what I was playing that when these issues came up and I had to stop, I was kind of crushed about it. The first thing is we've talked about it before on the podcast: time in games, having a timer, having a set thing you have to have done by a certain time.
Yeah.
Persona 5 has that. Now it's less.
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah, it's so the my first playthrough. I remember this is why I fell off of it. You have X number of days to finish this thing before time's up, basically. And I was thinking like, well, I'm going to get myself and the people around me, my confidants and all that stuff. I'm going to get us as strong as we can
Yeah.
be, and then go into the dungeon and we'll do this thing. So I did that, and it takes a long time to get to that point. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I actually was surprised playing it again. Reminded me how long it takes to like actually be able to explore the first palace, as they call it. This is my third stream of this game. Now, granted, I had some internet issues and things like that, but I'm probably about, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours into the game, and I'm finally like able to get into this palace and actually explore and do a JRPG dungeon. So then on top of that, it's not a short dungeon either. So you got to play for a while. So it's probably about 12 hours in my first time playing it when I finally got to the end, and I was like, okay, well, I have time, so perfect. I'll go back. I'll get everything in order, and we'll tackle the boss. And it had these things that force time forward, that I did not see coming at all. So I was all set up, ready to go, and I this issue's on me though. I didn't save. I didn't have a good save to go back to, and eventually time went, beyond where I thought I'd be able to make my approach or like do my final attempt, and it
Mhm.
skipped past it, and suddenly I missed my chance. We didn't do it in time. I'd lost. Game over. Load your last save. My last save was really far back, and I'm like, no way. I'm done. I'm so mad right now that this thing that anyway, the issue that led to that is one of the things that they fixed for Royal. They no more of no more will one of your characters tell you you can't do the thing you wanted to do. You have to go to bed. Um, it's that it's some other changes involving like your weapons, your guns. If you only had a clip of ammo for an entire dungeon
Mhm.
before, and if the only way you would get ammo back is if you left the dungeon and reloaded and stuff. Now your ammo replenishes after every fight, which is a complete game changer.
Oh,
They added
weird.
new personas. They added new characters, some new story elements. They added a bunch of stuff that really got me excited. So it came up on my list, and I was like, well, here we go. Um, and it's been good to be back in Persona. I'm excited. Looking forward. That one's. I'm probably going to play that one until April. Honestly, it's a big old
It's
game.
gonna
We're
be a
going to be
full year of Persona.
yeah. We're gonna.
130 hours.
This is the game that's going to get me to spring. Um, but yeah, no, I'm really excited to be doing that. Other than that, that's about it. I played a little bit of that Destruction All Stars on PlayStation 5 over the weekend. I think that game
Yeah.
is awful. Um,
Hmm.
I do not want to play that game at all. I think it feels bad. I think the concept's not good. I have nothing good to say about it. So
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. I've thought about downloading it and playing some.
I did try a little Concrete Genie too. So those are the PlayStation Plus games, by the way.
Yeah.
I did play a little Concrete Genie. That's my first time playing that. Cute game. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I think if I have free time off stream. I
Hmm.
don't typically have a lot,
Yeah.
but I might be digging that game. We'll see.
Hmm. Control is the other PlayStation Plus game
Oh, that's
of the
right.
three. The Ultimate Edition, which adds like ray tracing and all that stuff to the PS5 version. So
Oh wait, so
um
the one that released on PS5 is the Ultimate Edition?
yeah, yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they were waiting for like uh to do the upgrades for the Xbox Series X and the PS5 until, or they're waiting to release those versions, I think, until this PlayStation Plus free game thing. Because like the Ultimate Edition's been out on Xbox One and PS4 for a few months now. But they're waiting on like the actual next gen versions until this. So
Okay.
that is available on both sets of consoles. So you can play that game at 60 FPS or at 30 with ray tracing on
So was that their
either console.
way? Was that their way of making right for the initial hoopla surrounding the Ultimate Edition? Do you remember that?
No,
So,
the original Ultimate Edition.
well, when they announced the Ultimate Edition,
Yeah.
the only reason that this is fresh in my head is because I'm so far behind on
Oh
podcasts
no, I
that this
I
is
I know what
current
you're talking
news,
about.
but I'm in September. So,
I
yeah, they initially were going to release the Ultimate Edition, and they were even if you had
the
uh,
original version.
yeah, if you had the original version and you had the season pass,
Yeah,
you could not get the Ultimate Edition.
correct.
You would have
Correct.
to
It was its
repurchase the
own
game.
separate thing, which they say was like because of all the SKUs involved, they couldn't bundle it together somehow into a new SKU without it like messing something up.
Yeah,
I don't know. Plenty of people are doing it with other games, it seems.
exactly. So there
Like
was a
like the Division 2 you could play on Series X and PS5 now, and it's like updated for those consoles. So
right.
I don't know.
So, and I think
Um,
the publisher of that was 505.
correct. Yep.
So that was that's when you it didn't dawn on me. I saw controls on there. I didn't realize it was the Ultimate Edition, and immediately because I'm in a time warp in terms of podcasts and listening to stuff from September,
Sure.
um, I was like, wait a minute. I wonder if this is their fix for that gaff from 4 or 5 months ago.
I don't think it is, but it probably doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because they haven't done a similar make good for the Xbox.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah. Actually,
Control's good though. You should play Control.
Yeah. I've only played like a few hours of Control. I've been waiting for a version I could play at like a solid 60. So this is it. So my PC is like 45 or so. Like that game like hates GPUs that aren't like RTX cards.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing like DLSS stuff, like you're not hitting a pretty decent frame rate. So
Fun
I'm
story
looking
with
forward to
Control.
playing that soon.
Control was the third game that I ever streamed on my channel.
Oh wow.
I found that out today because somebody came in and asked me if I ever played. I don't know if I'd stream it again. I liked the game, but it went some directions, and I was like,
yeah.
But a lot of people super like it. So if you haven't played it, it's obviously worth the free play if you have PlayStation Plus.
Oh yeah, totally.
So that's all I've got.
Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else that I have. No, there's not. All right.
Well,
games. We have games to talk about.
We sure Chris. Do. Wow. And right before we get into that, I want to urge you guys to take the time, go ahead, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a positive review on whatever app you're listening to this on. We have been stuck at 11 5-star reviews for a long time, which is not bad, but it'd be cool to see some more come in. Leave us a positive review. That would be amazing. And then if you guys want to participate in the show, offer up your thoughts, your opinions, all that good stuff. We'd love to hear them. You can reach out to us at Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. Our Twitter is PG_show. Our email is pgshowinbox@gmail.com. We'll have our Discord link below, and we'll have our YouTube down there as well. Please feel free to reach out on any of those platforms, because we'd love to hear from you. Now we can discuss some games.
Sure. So. We certainly have some games.
We sure do. Gosh, I don't know.
What's first up here, Chris?
Well, all right. So our first game, developed by MotionWorks, published by Fox Interactive.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a third-person licensed adventure game released in 1997 for the Macintosh, Windows, and Windows 3.x operating system. We've got Anastasia Adventures with Puka and Bartok.
Oh boy. Boy.
Now let me start this with this question. Have you seen Anastasia?
It's been years.
You've seen it though?
Years. I've seen Anastasia.
I've never seen Anastasia.
Oh, okay.
So I was woefully just disconnected from this game from the get-go.
Yeah. So Anastasia was I want to say it's like one of the last Don Bluth productions. Because like Don Bluth was purchased by like the Bluth animation studio was purchased by Fox.
Yes.
And this was coming out after that purchase had happened. So Fox was positioning this as like their Disney princess competitor.
Yeah, it went head to head with Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. So, well, yes and no. So, Fox was releasing this. Disney wanted to counter program and re-release the Little Mermaid, a film from 1989. And re-released it in theaters. Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Okay. So Disney saw this as a threat and went head to head with one of their most popular Disney princesses. And they also went head to head with games. So when this released, Disney also released Ariel's Story Studio, which was I think another point and click adventure-y thing. Yeah. this game's kind of weird. So
Yeah, so here's the description
yeah.
as is found in like an ad blurb. Help a lost princess and her loyal canine companions solve one of the greatest mysteries of our time with Anastasia Adventures of Puka and Bartok. This children's adventure game is based on the animated feature film Anastasia. Travel with Anastasia and Puka, her loyal puppy, from St. Petersburg to Paris to help Anastasia prove her true identity. I needed that because I don't know the concept of an Anastasia of Anastasia the movie. In fact, I was super confused because apparently she calls herself Anya
Yeah.
all the way through.
I think that's just so to like disguise herself. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, because it
It's
kept
been a long time.
referencing.
I don't
It,
really know the full story these days, but
okay, it kept referencing Anya and her journal, and I'm like, who the hell is Anya? I don't
yeah,
know.
Anya's Anastasia.
Okay.
That's just what she's called.
So here's kind of what I've found on the game.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing actually kind of knocked my socks off a little bit. This game had an estimated budget of $800,000.
What?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
doesn't
Oh
that
yeah, there it
seem
is. There it is right there.
gargantuan?
It's a lot. But they had they were throwing a lot at this.
Yeah, clearly.
The animation that's in it is pretty good
Yeah,
for a point and click adventure game from 1997. But also like Fox was just throwing money at the Anastasia franchise in general at that time, so they have like a lot of the cast from the movie. Meg Ryan's in this, just reading journal entries as Anastasia. John Cusack's in it. Hank Azaria's Bartok. Bartok's in like every screen of this thing.
yes,
He
that is
pops
too
up
bad.
and quips and gives you like starts taunting you. And Bartok is a bat, by the way.
Yeah, he's kind of
he's a
sounds
bad
like
guy.
a poor man's gold member. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I can see why they spend so much money because yeah, to get Meg Ryan, John Cusack to be on board
Yeah.
for this game it's a big pull.
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned a little while ago Don Bluth. So for you PG veterans, that's not the first time Don Bluth has been mentioned on this podcast. We
Sure
covered
isn't.
what did we cover? Dragon's Lair 2. That's what it
Dragon
was.
Slayer 2. Time Warp.
So yeah, it's actually this is going to be a weird episode full of those kind of connections.
Kinda, yeah.
Which is exciting. That's what I like
Mm-hmm.
to. That's what I like to see. But yeah, that's you kind of you nailed it on the head. Fox purchased Don Bluth Studios while Anastasia was in development. So that's what you were right when saying that this was basically the final Don Bluth Studios production. So
Yeah.
another connection to an old procedurally generated episode, actually the original episode. Fox reached out to Blitz Studios. They are the studio that developed Disney's Lilo and Stitch, which we covered in episode 1.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. It reached out to
That's
Blitz
right.
to create a concept for a PlayStation game. Now, this game never released on PlayStation. When it was pitched, it was well regarded, but for some reason they just decided Anastasia doesn't fit on the PlayStation for some reason. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I think they didn't want a platformer. They didn't want like a 3D game. They decided that they wanted to go with specifically the route of Disney's animated storybook series, which is a very interesting thing to target, considering that Disney was also counter programming with their own stuff. So
Yeah, it's there's the point and click kind of navigating from scene to scene,
mhm.
exploring that kind of stuff, and then there's kind of a second, more actiony aspect to the game that I don't know if it occurs on a regular basis, but it occurs with Puka and Bartok. The issue, the point that I saw in a playthrough was Puka was stuck in a hole, and Bartok was trying to crush him with rocks, and all
Yes.
you had to do was Puka was just kind of move out of the way as the rock was falling and slowly build yourself a structure to climb out of the cave, it
Yeah, like the chasm would fill up,
yeah.
and you could jump out. So, uh, I'd say, well, I think it happens pretty regularly. It's like whenever you click on specific things, like a minion will come out and like transport uh Puka into like the underworld.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see that little twist in the action.
Yeah, and so you're given a choice of which path you want to take. There's like four different paths, each lead to a different mini game, and you know which mini game it is if you've done the mini game before. So there's that one. There's one where uh, there's a path through water that you have to take. That's like there's a path of stones that Puka can take. Um, but they show you what the path is, and then they put like a bunch of other stones around it that are like false stones. So you have to like memorize what that path was and have Puka take that correct path to the exit. There's one that kind of works like Chinese checkers, where like minions are on a board and Puka has to like jump over them to destroy them. And you have to destroy all of them to finish it. I'm trying to think of what the fourth one is.
Can't help you with that one. I just saw the
Yeah,
first one with the chasm.
got it. Yeah, so there's four different ones. They do happen occasionally when you click on certain objects. I mean the base of this game is a point and click adventure. So you're exploring different environments like a city. You're picking up items. You are the dog, by the way. You are Puka through like this whole thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's true. I forgot you're controlling Puka in the adventure game section as well.
Yeah, so like everyone will react to Puka, be like, "Oh, it's a cute dog. What do you want? Why is this dog bugging me?" But you're finding things like scarves or coins or whatever, and delivering them to certain places to move forward with the game. Um, Nothing super revolutionary there. Just like the character animations and stuff are really good. They're very clean. They weren't done by the Bluth company themselves. This game was made by MotionWorks, and they also contracted to a company called IntelliScape Interactive Corp. Um, but I'm not sure exactly what each did. I know MotionWorks was some sort of an animation house or like a digital visual studio, but I really couldn't find too much on them. Um, Chris, I'm not sure if you had much more
Yeah,
luck
not
with what MotionWorks did or who they were. Um,
not really. I just have like one other game that they were credited for, which I didn't know anything about, called Counting on Frank.
yeah, I saw that too. That was in Moby, I believe.
So,
Correct?
yeah, which was kind of strange because the Wikipedia entry that I read was that when this game was released, it actually drove them to like new heights as a company. Like
Yeah.
very very receptive, set new the 3/4 of profit and all that. But then I didn't see anything else. I don't know what happened to the company or anything. So it's just kind of, I
So
don't know.
I was able to find one article that mentioned them. And the title of the article is "MotionWorks Restructures," and it's from 1996, so it's a year before this game actually came out.
Oh,
And it says the restructuring of embattled multimedia player MotionWorks Group was approved by shareholders on June 20th in Vancouver at the company's AGM. Um, so I was able to find that they were a Vancouver company before that. That's how I'm connecting these dots, that this should be them. It says that they nearly disintegrated at the end of March 1996. Um, so they apparently restructured and then made this game and then have zero existence outside of all of this. I really could not find anything about this group.
Interesting.
Or at least nothing current, nothing after 1997.
Huh. You don't
Very
see that.
oddly.
Like that's one thing that I'm surprised we don't run into. Well, and I'm not surprised we don't run into it more. I'm surprised to have run into it now, given our ability to kind of find out more about some of these companies. That's
right. Like usually there's a longer paper trail of. I mean, this is the actual developer of this game, and they have made another thing. And apparently, like, they were an established company in Vancouver. And this is really all that I can find on them, which is odd.
So yeah, I mean, I guess there's not too much. I mean, there's a little bit more as the publisher Fox. Obviously, games whose licenses fell under the Fox umbrella. I thought it interesting. The last game that they published before they were purchased by Vivendi Universal was the Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah, that's a fun game.
It is.
It's like their GTA, right?
Yeah, it's Simpsons GTA, basically. Yeah, you're right. So,
yeah, they worked obviously in a lot of licensed titles. The Simpsons, Die Hard, different sports stuff, but yeah. Their first game was The Tick, actually, in 1994, for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Nice.
But yeah.
And then I did kind of buzz through the credits, just kind of see if there was anybody who's still pretty active in the industry. And I did follow. I came across one, Paul Paulicki. He actually worked as a tester for this game, which I don't know. I always feel a little bit more excited when I find people to track through their careers when they start as a tester, because that's starting out in the industry. That's doing a lot of not very fun work.
Yeah.
And kind of grinding your way to the top. So he actually transitioned. It looked like he transitioned with the company when Fox was bought by Vivendi. And then he has since gone on to work as a producer on Prototype, a senior producer on Prototype 2, and then also did some additional work on The Division. So he doesn't, he's not CEO or he's not the, head of, development or anything at a studio, but he's been in the industry for a very long time. He's worked on some very big games and some,
he was in a leadership position of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like seeing the dishwasher at a restaurant become like a head chef.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. It's just
like that. That's kind of like
the
analogy that I see in my mind.
And it takes it's taken a long time. This game released in, what did we say, 1997?
7.
Yeah, so this released in 97. Prototype 2. I mean, The Division was what, 2016, 2015?
Yeah, something like that. 2016ish.
So that was the most recent one. Prototype 2 before that, but that's essentially 15, 20 years in the industry. I think I did that math right. I lost my numbers there. To play a role in some pretty big games. So
yeah,
good for you, Paul.
Good job.
If you're interested in playing the game, I only found a Mac version on eBay for $30.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's all I could find.
Wow.
So, anything else you have on Anastasia?
Let me take a look at my notes real quick.
If you're into adventure games and you have a hankering for that, old Bluth art, I mean, the game looks good.
It looks nice. It looks really nice.
It is. Adventure games are not my bread and butter by any stretch, but if you're into that kind of thing, it's worth maybe taking a look. We got some screenshots in the Discord, and anything else extra that I put in there? Let's see. Oh, I got a review from Macworld, July 1998 issue for Anastasia.
All right.
Oh, one thing I did see, I don't know. So I found a cover art and I threw it in there. And then I found another cover art. And everything is identical except her face is super different.
Yeah. It totally is.
Yeah, it is not even close. Like she looks more.
Well,
I
one,
don't
her mouth
know.
is like open. The other one, it's not.
Yeah, and like it's almost like they. I don't know.
Huh.
It's almost like they. I don't want to say this because I hope it's not true, but it's almost like they made her thinner.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
It's like I saw it and I was like, I don't. Ooh, that looks. I wonder.
The that first one looks more realistic, and the other one's more stylized. Because like the
Yeah,
dude looks different too. Like there's different shading,
I guess he does look a little different. Yeah.
but not as drastically different as she does.
Oh, also, hey,
Yeah.
there's like a big face in the mountains behind them. In the
Yeah,
first one, there's not.
that's Rasputin. Yep.
Oh,
And
he's
then
not. He's not on the original
Bartok
one.
is in a different place.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess I could have done a better job of spot the
Yeah.
difference on this. Well, anyways, I mean, it's
Weird.
strange that those two very different cover arts exist. I guess for the same game,
Yes.
but
Agreed.
that's all I got for Anastasia.
That's all I have too. Weirdly, not a lot there for such a big movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
Should we take a break?
Speaking of not a lot there, and speaking of big movies, let's take a break.
Okay, was that how you were going to end that? Or?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and when we get back, we got some anger to sort out.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
You'll know what I mean in just a little bit. See you guys in a bit. Welcome back, John.
Thank you. Thanks.
What'd you get up to? You've had hours to yourself. What have you been doing?
I went in and saw my cats and got some water.
It's an interesting way to spend multiple hours. I can't. You should have. Okay.
I just stared at a wall for a while, just waiting for you to come back.
Just ready for this break to end.
You said 5 minutes, and you said 7:15, and then I didn't know you meant the other 7:15. So here we are, 12 hours later.
Perfect.
Yeah, Chris, why are you so mad at this next game?
Oh, I'm not mad.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But there's a developer, there's a programmer that is mad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, is he mad? But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what this game is?
Yeah, this is a game from 1993. It was made for the for MS-DOS, for the Amiga 1200, as well as the Amiga 500 and 600. I don't know what those are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Published and developed by Ocean Software. This is Jurassic Park. Chris,
yes, baby.
The movie / book tie-in video game, Jurassic Park.
Absolutely.
And I was sad to find out this is not the same Jurassic Park from Ocean Software that I played on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that is weird, huh? Because I would have just assumed that it was too. And
yeah,
Ocean Software developed both these games, released them in the same year, and they're different games.
They are technically a year off from each other.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so this game was originally released in 1993 in Europe, but didn't come out everywhere else until 1994.
Okay.
Which is, I believe, when the Super Nintendo game came out. They were made by different teams within Ocean. So this one was made by the European team, or like the British team, and then the other one was by Ocean Software America. They were working on the Nintendo versions.
Gotcha. Okay. That would, I guess that would explain.
Similar games, but we're not going to treat them as the same game because they are actually different games.
They are. They share some similarities in the fact that both of the games use a bird's eye view, top-down
Mm-hmm.
perspective.
Yep.
And then when you go inside, they both utilize a FPS perspective.
Yes.
Which I'd never actually been inside a structure in the Super Nintendo game, which made that was news to me. But
Yeah.
that is so very similar games, but they are different. In the Super Nintendo game, you start like just outside the gate. In the Amiga game or in the DOS game, we drew the DOS version. You actually start near the overturned Jeep
Mm-hmm.
that the T-Rex knocks down into the ravine or down the tree. About what, halfway through the movie?
Yeah, like a good 40 minutes in or something.
Yeah. Um, so I want to read the description because it has one really fun part in
Yes.
it. Through the eyes of a velociraptor, you're just another meal. In this earth-shaking recreation of the movie, you'll go eyeball to eyeball with T-Rex, Stegosaurus, and Triceratops as you attempt to restore power to the island and get out safely. JP, Jurassic Park,
Uh-huh.
they called it JP.
They sure did.
JP for the PC isn't just another day in the park. It's 9 megabytes of flesh-ripping, full-motion predatory action.
Wow.
9 whole megabytes.
Wow.
Find John Hammond's grandchildren and guide them through various dinosaur paddocks to safety. Explore the visitor center where raptors guard the corridors. Using your night vision glasses, find your way to the helicopter. Will it be there?
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be a
I
bummer of a
really
game.
hope so. Yeah, you get to the end, you're like, well, there's just more dinosaurs, I guess.
Yeah, there's no helicopter here.
They look hungry.
That's a pterodactyl. Yes, they both fly. I get your confusion, but now what? Or I guess pterodon. What are they called? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the main bullet points for this game, as was conveyed in a press release of sorts,
Mm-hmm.
was some of the story elements were lengthened by adding elements from the original novel that never made it into the film. So that's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yep.
13 missions, test your reflexes and brain power while you battle the deadly beasts. Explore more than 60 detailed interior and exterior sections. Unmatched realism in a unique 3D environment packed with mazes and landscapes. Advanced real-time texture mapping brings you face-to-face with actual models of 11 savage and hungry dinosaur species. Atmospheric soundtrack and intense sound effects add to the excitement that made the movie a box office smash. So there you go. What more do you need?
Right. So I found it interesting that it sounds like Steven Spielberg was actually pretty involved with the development of this.
Oh, okay.
So like having, like, as we all know from the development of Boom Blocks, Steven Spielberg is an avid video game fanatic. He loves video games. But he was involved involved with like he gave over like storyboards from the movie while it was being shot and developed. They shared like audio files from the movie for like the T-Rex sounds and things like that. He also consulted to make sure that the feel of the game was within his vision of what a Jurassic Park game would be, which led Ocean to make this more of a, I guess, like the top-down action game that it is, as opposed to a platformer. They just found it to be a more gritty, grounded take on Jurassic Park than what you would normally find for most licensed games back in 1993, 94, which was like a platformer of some sort, which I believe the Genesis version was actually a platformer, if I remember
Yeah,
that
it
correctly.
was.
Yeah, that was more like a Prince of Persia or Another World. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, those are probably. I think it was a little. I consider those two games that you called out kind of more like methodical platformers.
Yeah, and
Whereas I
that's what I
think this
remember
one,
from the Genesis version. I
I
could
guess
be
you
misremembering
could
it.
be right.
I wasn't researching that game
Yeah,
for
I
this,
didn't look
but
into it. I'm trying to think of back when I actually played it, and I remember it using kind of the weird animations for the dinosaurs that almost look like the Mortal Kombat characters did.
yes, yep.
Um, but I guess yeah. So there you go.
But this is top down. You're given a taser to start out. You're playing as Alan Grant, Dr. Grant, trying to find Tim and Lex. Like the description that you gave before, and you're trying to escape the park. So there's different like puzzle elements of finding the kids, getting them out safely, or there's one part you're in some sewers. You're pushing around a box in like the water to find Lex to get her onto the box to then carry her out of the sewers. Um, there's various little puzzly elements like that, but typically it's shocking dinosaurs with your taser. There are other weapons as well, but they didn't really want to have like really big guns for this uh, because it wasn't really reflective of what Jurassic Park was. Which I find it odd that that Dr. Grant's even like running around with a taser that like shoots giant lightning bolts out of it, which is I think also antithetical to what Jurassic Park is,
Right.
because like these are just supposed to be regular people who happen to be in the middle of a dinosaur park that has gone wrong. Um, one of which is a paleontologist who would be respective of all of these dinosaurs and is definitely not killing them throughout the whole movie. Um, yeah. Do you have much to talk about the gameplay of this, Chris?
Not much besides, I mean, the top down perspective,
Mm-hmm.
the FPS sections. Um,
I have
I mean, the
FPS.
most jarring thing was that this isn't the SNES game.
Right.
That was
Right.
it's just it's weird to me
What?
that these two things exist so close to one another, released by the exact same company that are actually different games.
Yeah. So when I started watching a video of this, I saw Grant jump, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely not the Super Nintendo game. That was like the wildest thing. I'm like, why is he? How's he getting up on those cliffs? Oh, he's jumping. Which is just kind of weird for a top-down game. From this time. Usually they would like the Super Nintendo game, they would rely on things like ramps or ladders to get you to different uh to different elevations. But with this, they're just like, screw it, he's jumping. Why not? He's got legs. Use them.
Yeah, I mean the conceit is much, it's very in line with the movie, of what you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to accomplish.
Yep.
I couldn't find anything specific to what was added outside of the movie from the books. I also have never read the book,
It's
which
like
is a shame. I need to do that.
the
But
pterodon dome,
okay.
the pteranodon dome, which I think is in Jurassic Park 3. When they
Oh
go back
yeah,
and
and that's yeah. Okay, I remember
so
that
I
section.
yeah, so I was trying to think. I'm like, is that something that they also just like wanted to re-add to the movies that they left out in the book? But yeah, I think that's the section that that was added back into this game.
And the other thing that I saw, and again, not having played it or seen the entire playthrough of it, the game is split into
Hmm.
two missions. That's kind of what they say. There's the first mission is entirely top down, and the second mission is
Yep,
entirely uh,
first person.
FPS. Yeah, the first person
Yes.
perspective. So um, when you communicate it that way, it seems like the shortest game ever made. So I don't know how long the game actually is. It's odds are it's longer than I'm thinking, but
Yeah.
it's just weird that it was communicated as the game's two missions long. It's like,
Well, I think with any game from this time, it's a lot of trial and error. So like
yeah,
your first time through, it's probably going to take hours and hours. But um, I watched a pretty good chunk of a playthrough, and getting like Tim and Lex like gathering them and getting them to safety was pretty quick. It was a good like 15 minutes or so. And then it kind of cut to some of the indoor stuff. So I don't know what that transition is actually like. But I didn't actually see what brings you inside. It brings you into this first person shooter. It looks like Doom actually.
Yeah,
You are in like
that's
3D environments. You have a giant gun.
and if you
Which I
guys
know
are
I said
listening to
earlier they were
this,
trying to steer away from like big weaponry, but it looks like you're holding like a Halo assault rifle
yeah,
in
there's a
this
couple
first person
of
section.
screenshots in the Discord if you guys want to take a look. That's the top down, and then there's a picture of you about to get trounced by a velociraptor with your gun out.
Yeah.
So very, very different games between the two missions. So
Yep. Yep.
So the I'm trying to figure out the best way to transition to this. It's kind of a development story.
Sure. I
Gosh,
think that's the transition.
I think it is. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So what what's the development story that you have for this?
so as we said, Ocean Software developed this game.
Yep.
Um, the I went so I showed some of my resources that I use on a regular basis, and the cutting room floor is one of those.
Yeah, that's right.
And I didn't have high hopes for finding anything on Jurassic Park uh, outside of like the SNES version or something more modern. And lo and
Right.
behold, I found Jurassic Park listed twice. Once for the Amiga ECS version, and
Mm-hmm.
once for the Amiga AGA version. So I clicked on them, and oh boy. I'm going to need you to just remember this name for a little bit because we're going to come back to him in a second. But his name is Robert Walker.
Okay.
So he was a programmer on this game. Now
Yes. Yep.
I've told you how to find this. So if you want to read it, go nuts. I'm not
Yep.
going to read it on the podcast. There's some homophobic stuff in there.
Ooh,
There's
not good.
some stuff basically disparaging to disabled. But he put something in there to make sure that crackers from the area or from that era could
Uh-huh.
see it. Now he put two versions of this. The one that was in the ECS version was ultra aggressive and to the point. There's a toned down version, and yes, I'm going to read the toned down version. I swear
I
to
just
God,
read the non-toned down version. Holy
yeah,
crap.
yeah.
Wow.
So here's the
Wow.
toned down version that was in the AGA version of the game.
Yeah.
Rab. I'm not sure what that's referencing, but Rab, period. Crack this game and you die. I am not kidding. I know who you all are. You have been warned. That's the toned down version of the message that the programmer put into these groups that were cracking the games at the time. Now, the message itself was put in response to a bad cracking job done to the Amiga AGA version. This specifically targeted Fairlight and Paradox, along with other cracking groups at the time. I don't know who they are, but let's just
I have
say
no
that
idea either.
the non toned down version replaced Fairlight and Paradox with two less than stellar terms. So I just needed to.
Oof.
Those messages were shocking in the first
Yes.
place, but then, okay, I told you to remember the name Robert Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's get into a little bit about Ocean because I'm. You know what? Actually, let's just go right into Robert Walker.
Yeah.
So Robert Walker still is very busy in the industry,
Yeah.
incredibly busy. He works on the release and marketing side of things for many current games, including Marvel Spider-Man, God of War, Days Gone, Neo 2, Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted Lost Legacy, Gran Turismo 6, Detroit Become Human, Death Stranding, Ratchet and Clank. The list goes on
So Sony.
forever.
That's what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's, yeah. So, I mean,
SCEU? Is
he
that where he
is
works now?
basically it's every game that's released for Sony, he's had a
Oof.
hand in. So I'm
Jeez.
assuming that as the programmer on this game, this is not a something that he would be super excited to speak to.
No, and I'm guessing if this is on a site like the Cutting Room Floor, that this has been brought up in the past.
I would
and it's
assume
been,
so.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeesh. Big
I don't know,
yeesh.
but it was yeah. So you read it. It's you understand why I was not going to read that on the podcast.
Yeah. And time changes people.
It does. True.
This is something that was 27 years ago. 20? No. Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's rough. That is very rough.
I get his frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been done better.
Yeah.
So that's I mean those I saw that and I was like, wow, it's something we should probably talk about. But we'll switch gears here a little bit and talk about Ocean software a little bit. What you know, because Ocean, I mean, I remember playing games back in the day all the time and seeing that Ocean logo pop.
Yes.
That
playing
logo,
a lot of licensed games, huh?
Well, you know, I was a little kid. I didn't have a lot of money.
No, they did more than licensed games.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, they actually began life as Spectrum Games. I actually didn't put the year. Why didn't I put the year down? 1983, I think, is when they.
Yes, 83. Yep.
83. Okay. And then I think they were only Spectrum
selling
for a
arcade
year.
clones for the ZX Spectrum,
right?
Which might be something that we get into with our next game.
Oh, you know what? I didn't put those pieces together until right now. Oh yes. Man.
So, I mean, the Spectrum was a big thing in Europe. Yeah. So, not surprising that these games that both came out of Europe are connected with the ZX Spectrum in some way.
Yeah. So I think they were only Spectrum games for their first year in business, and then they became Ocean. In 1995, they secured their first movie licenses with Rambo, Short Circuit, and Cobra, and also got TV show licenses for Miami Vice and RoboCop. They also, this is important because this is another callback, our third one of the episode. How exciting is that? In a joint venture between Ocean Software and Merit Studios Limited, a new development division was created called Eutechnics, which we featured in episode 8 as they were the team that developed Test Drive Le Mans. And then in 1997, I believe, they merged with Infogrames, but remained its own division until 1998 when they rebranded to Infogrames United Kingdom. And they are now known as Bandai Namco Entertainment UK Limited. Yes. So that is the life cycle of Ocean Software.
They went everywhere.
They sure did. But it's cool to see that some piece of them still lives on within Bandai Namco, which is
and like looking at the European arm of Bandai Namco, it seems like it's all just publishing stuff. It's like publishing and marketing currently. So they don't really do any of the development stuff anymore. At least in that area. So
and Ocean, they themselves actually became more publishing focused as opposed to development in the latter years of them existing as Ocean. So but yeah, that's kind of the whole shebang I've got for Jurassic Park.
I'm trying to just a couple things about development. This was done with a 13-person team, which was considered large at the time. Which we don't really consider that in
That's a
the
small
the
squad these
AAA days
days.
of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at like Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 13 people was quite a big team for this. Like I said, Spielberg was involved. They were originally developing this game for the Amiga 600, as they didn't have development kits for the upcoming Amiga 1200. But once they did get those kits, they moved all development over to the Amiga 1200, which caused the Amiga 500 and 600 versions to be delayed until the year after the original version came out. So, um, yeah, this game had a pretty wild ride in development, which I did not expect to find. You, I guess I don't know why I would assume that a licensed project the size of something like Jurassic Park wouldn't have many bumps in the road, but it sure did.
Well, yeah, and that's yeah. I mean, but it's self-inflicted, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that one absolutely was, but I think
well,
they
just the
made the right
approach.
choice there.
It,
Look,
okay.
like looking at the Amiga 1200 version and looking at the DOS version, the DOS version is definitely cleaner. Um, it runs smoother, especially in like the first person shooter segments. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's it's not half bad. Like it's still good enough, I
Mm-hmm.
think, for what they were doing. So it's closer to like what you'd see on the Super Nintendo version, but it wasn't like the full uh, Doom like experience that the PC version was. So
Yeah. I yeah. I mean, the biggest mystery to me for this game, um, and again, kind of how we even started our conversation on Jurassic Park when we drew the game. Just the idea that this is a different game. That
yeah,
I mean, I guess
like
I get that it's different running on Super Nintendo console hardware versus PC hardware. Um, but that's the kind of, I mean, that had been done, that had existed. I'm just not sure why the focus on two
I think the
very
hardware is way different. Is the thing, like working on a console and working on like the the Amiga's a computer.
yeah.
Um, so it's just running on completely different kinds of hardware. If you look at the Super Nintendo version, like the camera's way closer, like the sprites are way larger. I don't know if they could render as much as they could with the Amiga and the PC. And then if you look at the 3D sections, like the environments in there are nicer looking in the PC and Amiga versions. So,
Yeah.
but there are some consistencies between the Super Nintendo and this version, where like the taser that Dr. Grant has is like exactly the same. Like you're still shooting out giant lightning bolts from it.
Yeah,
Um,
we were talking about the taser, and I was like thinking back. I'm like, God, wait, there's a taser in Super Nintendo one, right? Like,
yeah,
and was
like
trying to like
they
think
are
through
pretty close. Like a lot of the same concepts are there. Like outdoor
motion sensors.
exploration, top down, the motion sensors. But in the Super Nintendo version, they added things like voice clips. Um, like when you start the game, it actually says like "Welcome to Jurassic Park" with Dr. Hammond's voice. Um, yeah, I mean there are some things that are similar, but like if you look back at uh the little things like even being able to jump in the Amiga and DOS version, that's a pretty big break from
It's true.
what the Super Nintendo version is.
Super Nintendo would have exploded. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Um,
like the Super Nintendo version is more of an open world, uh, find your way around, find key cards and get into facilities, as opposed to this one starts off as like a top down thing and ends as a first person thing.
yeah,
They kind of mix it in with the Super Nintendo version, so like they are two completely different games, but um, at first glance, I thought they were the same.
yeah. I went into it.
So
My research on Sunday, and was like, "Oh, okay, well let's
You
get
message me.
started."
You're like, I've got some bad news, John.
Yeah, like I hope you have not started your research on Jurassic Park with the idea that it is the
Like,
same
you know, I
game.
haven't.
That's true. I was like, I better reach out to him on a Sunday. We got time still. um, but that's all. That's all I've got on Jurassic Park. Anything else
Yeah,
for you?
no, that's about it.
All right. Well, should we move on to our third and final game?
Please.
All right.
Let's do it.
Our third game, developed by two individuals, Paul Johnson and Eugene Farrell. They don't have a name. They have names, I guess, but not a developer.
I've also
name.
seen it attributed to the publisher, which is DKtronics.
Okay, is it D? Okay, good. Because I was really hesitant about calling it Dicktronics.
Dicktronics. I mean, might as well call it Dicktronics now.
So this is another top-down action game.
Yeah.
Released in, oh my gosh, 1983.
That's correct.
That's older than I am, which I don't get to say very often about the video games that we cover. And this game was released on the ZX Spectrum, which we referenced just a few short minutes ago. This is a game called Hard Cheese.
Hard Cheese it is.
What a name.
A game I have never heard of.
Nope.
Did you know that the ZX Spectrum runs on tapes?
I did as of Sunday.
It's crazy.
Or no, this was Monday.
Like an actual cassette.
Night. Yeah, which I didn't even want to try to wrap my brain around how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it just like runs through the tape and like puts all the information onto RAM and then just plays it through the console. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not even mildly equipped to even field a guess.
Anyways, Hard Cheese is an arcade title, arcade-ish title, where you play as you're like a bulldozer drilling through
red
stuff to get gems. Gosh, I'm watching footage of it right now, and I cannot comprehend a way to
okay, yeah. So
to really describe it. Like you're making paths through the ground, essentially, trying to escape enemies that are being cloned by a prime enemy in like the very center of the screen. And you are trying to kill all these clones and finish the level that way and collect gems.
Yes, you have to collect the gem. When I watched not knowing anything about this game, seeing a screenshot and being like, well, that doesn't explain a thing.
No.
Let's watch a YouTube video. And I think we watched the same one because you said it was about 3 minutes long. So I was like, well, let's take a look. I watched that thing all the way through and was like, I don't have any idea what's going on. So I was like, we got to try this game. So I found it on the software library and we booted it up. The first time I played it, I didn't understand what I was supposed to do. I was as confused watching the video as I was playing the game. But yes, you play as a bulldozer. You're clearing the red out of the way while picking up those gems, and you have these enemies that are multiplying. And but these enemies are designated to just the paths that you've created.
Yes, you are creating caves essentially. And they're traveling through these caves.
Yeah, it's
they are the Pac-Man ghosts, and you are creating the maze.
Yeah, right, precisely. So you also have the ability to shoot a laser, which is just a big green block, but the laser just goes wherever it wants to go until it hits something. If it hits a wall, it keeps going, so it'll follow whatever path you've made. Yes. But if there's an enemy right in front of it and there's a lane down, it may take the enemy out. It may take the lane down and continue on its merry way until it hits something else. And then you also have to wait for that to recharge. So you have a way of shooting, but it's not very often. You can only shoot every once in a while.
Right.
And the game is crazy fast.
It's very fast.
I was hoping that was like the YouTube video sped up. Nope, it's that fast.
Yeah.
I can't process things that quickly. But the first time through, I was like, I think I got it. I think I know what I need to do. I couldn't figure out what the goal was until your goal is to not, you don't have to take out all of the clones, all of the enemies. You have to take out enough of them, or maybe a main one. You can't, I couldn't tell the difference between any of the enemies, but one
I
of
think
them
it's
that I
enough of
killed,
them.
it must be enough because once I did that, the center flashing enemy thing turned
Yeah.
into a piece of cheese. And
Sure.
I died before I got the cheese. But it boy, it took me a minute to wrap my head around what the conceit of the game was.
So, now's the point where I should let all the listeners know this is a clone of an arcade game called Mr. Do. um,
Yes, tell me about Mr. Do because I saw that and then forgot to look up anything on Mr. Do. I've never heard of Mr. Do.
it is exactly the same game.
Ah,
Here's the description of Mr. Do. You control Mr. Do as he tries to harvest all of the cherries on the screen. However, there are numerous bad guys out to get him. Mr. Do can defend himself from the bad guys in two ways. First, he can push apples located throughout the playfield on top of the enemies to crush them, which you can do in hard cheese as well. There's like boulders that are in the path that you can dig holes underneath them and use gravity to kill your enemies. Secondly, Mr. Do is armed with a power ball, which is a ball that will ricochet through the caverns that you've created, just like your green laser. And you can, well, it says Mr. Do only has one power ball, though, so you'll need to wait for it to return to him before it can be used again. So you can go and catch it, or it might recharge. I'm not sure. From time to time, an alpha monster will appear on the screen bearing one of the letters and extra blah blah. On. When you successfully collect all the cherries, you'll move on to the next more difficult level. Now, that's not the case with hard cheese. Hard cheese, you have to defeat all the enemies to complete the level and move on to the next one. So whether that's with your beam or with boulders that you drop on them, it's got to be one of those.
oh yeah, I forgot about the boulders. So that, yeah, I guess that's the other thing. Even though it is like a top-down perspective,
Yep. There's
gravity
still
is at play
gravity.
from top to bottom. So
Yes,
even
yes,
though it would seemingly be a flat surface, gravity comes north to south. So
yes.
um, strange game.
It's weird.
That's all I have on gameplay. I couldn't
Yeah,
tell you another thing
that's.
about it.
I would implore people to watch a video of it to understand what we're talking about.
Or if you want to give it a shot yourself, like I said, I linked the software library version in
It's
wait,
in the
was it?
Discord.
Yeah, I think, right?
Great.
Didn't I?
Yes,
Let me
yes,
make
it's in
sure.
there. Yep.
Yeah. So try it. Give it a shot. It's something. It's something.
Sure,
Um,
sure is.
yeah. The if I mean, you said you had some stuff on. Did you have some stuff on development? I just have a couple things on. Basically, just what Paul Johnson otherwise worked on. But
Yeah. What do you have for Paul Johnson?
so this was his first game.
Uh-huh.
Eugene Farrell, by the way, this was the only game that he worked on. For Paul Johnson, this was his first game. And then he also worked on a game called Centibug in 1983,
Yes. Uh-huh.
Minder
Also for
in
DK Tronics. All three of those.
yeah, Minder, and then
Yes.
War like WAR. I don't know why that's not making sense in my brain. War Cars Construction Set. Boy.
Okay. That was not for DK Tronics.
Okay, but that was me. Yeah, it was in 1987. I don't know. Wow, that's the first. The
War
game's
Cars.
made me fall all over myself.
Workers.
Work construction set. um, yeah, so those are the only the other three games that he was credited with. I haven't heard of any of those myself, and I didn't see that he has done anything in the industry since 1987, according to Moby. Maybe he's done more, but what else do
Yeah.
you have on him or
So
them?
I tried looking for both Paul Johnson and Eugene Farrell. really couldn't find anything outside of what you found.
Yeah, Paul Johnson
Um,
maybe has a bit too common of a name.
yeah, and maybe Eugene Farrell is as well in the UK. I don't know. What I did find was more on DK-Tronics, and they were a peripheral creator for the ZX Spectrum and uh, other Sinclair devices, which is the company that made the ZX Spectrum. And they also got into publishing games just by people who are making them. That's how we find ourselves with a clone of Mr. Dew, with was it? Hold on one sec. What was the centipede one? Centibug.
Centibug.
Yes, Centibug is a centipede clone. There's a bunch of clones of there's Millibug, Galactians.
No, you're not even trying.
Hold on. These are games that are published by DK-Tronics. Deflex Centipede, actually a centipede, but it's named Centipede. It's not the actual centipede. Meteoroids, which is asteroids. Meteor Storm, which is I believe it almost looks like a. What was the Laser Blasters game that Laser Blasters was cloned from?
Laser Blast? Oh. What the? Oh my god, that's gonna drive me nuts. It was
Missile Command.
Missile Command, yes.
Missile Command, yes.
I thought you were asking me what the Laser Blasters game was. I was like, it's Laser Blaster.
There's it's Laser Blasters. Of course, it's Laser Blasters. Yeah, there's a bunch of games like that are clones of popular arcade games. That's basically what they develop, or that's what they published for the ZX Spectrum. But then they also got licenses to Minder, which is a British TV series. Popeye, the sailor, which nice. I don't know what that game actually is. It looks like some sort of adventure game. And then Benny Hill's Madcap Chase, which does not have that music at all. But you're doing the actions
what are you even doing,
that they do it. I know. I watched the video specifically for them. Like, do they have the music? No, they don't. But they do have funny things that happen in it. Like you are Benny Hill, and you're running like left and right through this town while like a cop chases you. And you can run into trees and walls. The cop can run into trees and walls. So there's this one part in a clip. I was watching a YouTube video and like scrolled down into the comments to see if anybody else was irked that the music wasn't there. And someone's like, at like 11:51 is just pure comic genius. And so I scrolled to that time, and Benny runs. And then like moves up a plane of like basically like moves into the background. A cop comes and runs and hits a wall, like face plants, and then drops to the ground. Benny, who's still in the background, starts running to the left and like runs into a tree, also face plants, and then drops to the ground. And then like a police car like pulls up. It's wild. I
might need you to send me that link. That video.
Yeah, it's like perfectly silent though, besides like some beeps and boops that are happening. It's very, very weird. Yeah, they basically did clones of things, and then had some licensed games, but outside of that, they were a peripheral maker for the ZX Spectrum. So they'd make like controllers, they distribute different cables and ways to plug in different peripherals, cassette players, beta disc interfaces. I started looking at like what are some of what are peripherals for this thing, and it's a bunch of like joysticks and cables and weird stuff that I've never really seen for consoles before. Um, the ZX Spectrum seems like a pretty wild system, or PC or whatever it is.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I've never played one.
Yeah,
but I know that it has releases in the year of 2020. So
yeah. People
yeah,
love
still
it. They still
still
make
some
stuff for it.
yeah,
Um,
well regarded. So
yeah.
um anything else that you have for hard cheese?
No, not really.
That was pretty good. When I messaged John, I was like, boy, hard cheese, man. I don't know, but
Yeah,
he took on the challenge and he came up with a lot more stuff than I did. So good for
yeah.
you.
You messaged me and you're like, I think we should probably take games from pre 1985 off the list. But I think being able to unearth like or at least force us to discover what like the ZX Spectrum is, or what some of these companies were doing to stay in business then. Um, I think it's worth at least trying to find out. Um, I think there's some interesting history there, like pre 85 when it's um less um when games aren't centered around specific consoles, or they're mainly like the arcades. Like that was kind of the wild west of gaming.
True.
Like
Yeah.
we like to think sometimes like Steam is the wild west of gaming, and in some aspects it is, with all of your anime dating sims and whatnot. But there was a lot of weird stuff that was being figured out pre NES, and as hard as it is for us to comprehend what a lot of that stuff is, I think it's stuff we should probably push forward into to finding out. Um, Kind of surprised this still got onto the list, because like we did aim for 85 and later.
Yeah, I think the reason it made it is just because we settled on ZX Spectrum being one of the consoles that we wanted to cover, and
Yeah,
rather than starting at 85, we just wanted to cover the. I don't think that
that makes
there's.
sense. I think we looked at like the years that it was active,
Yeah,
and it's still active, like you were saying. So
yeah.
that
It
makes
might it
sense.
might be the only console too. There might be one other one. I can't remember for sure. It might be the only
It's probably
console
an
that we.
Atari or something.
Yeah, the Atari ST maybe might be another one.
Yeah,
That maybe dips below 1985, so it
yeah.
won't happen often. But I mean, you raise a valid point. So, um,
Well, like, but your point also stands that it's also really hard to find development stories from that time.
yeah.
The internet's not around. Um, Most of the stories that you're finding are from like the cocaine infused days of Atari. um, yeah, it's just harder to find stories about how things were made. Like we barely have anything for this game for how it was made. We barely know who the programmers were, or how they got entrenched with DK-Tronics, or if they ended up making more stuff outside of what we know of on Moby Games. Who knows? So it's just harder to put the dots together, which I completely understand your point of view on that.
Yeah, but that being said, we'll keep trying, and
Yeah,
if we get one that's tough and we feature on the channel, hey, we'll do our best. We'll do our
yeah,
best. We'll find what we can.
absolutely.
Like in this case, you found a lot of stuff that I didn't find, so I think that this was perfect. Actually,
Yeah,
I
this
think
worked
it worked
out.
out well.
Yeah.
So, based on if we would have gone with just what I had, less than stellar. So,
I kind of had to scratch and claw for some of that stuff though. So
I gave you, I had had a chance to talk to you like prior to your research, so you kind of knew what you were getting into. Like I had already like
yeah, I'm
gotten
like
my
I might
searching in, and I'm like, well, hmm.
need to squeeze blood from this quarter.
So, well, John, should we rank these games?
Let's rank them and then thank them.
Yes, let's do it. You know what I'm going to ask you.
Mm-hmm. You went first last time, so I'll go.
Okay, all right, there it is.
I don't know if that's true, but someone has to make these decisions.
Hey, yeah, you know what? I'm blinded by choice.
I'm still just like running on fumes from the other night.
That's true. Yeah, you had to stay up all night with your cat.
I did. So every time we bring him into the vet to do his checkup, he gets his teeth cleaned. But to do that, he has to be put under anesthesia. So he can't eat food for 8 hours before the procedure.
I completely understand why that would be a difficult thing to do.
And he loves to wake me up at all hours of the night on normal days to feed him. And I don't have the method to shut him up by just feeding him. So I opted to just stay up all night. And I took a day of PTO yesterday and just slept all afternoon. So,
but it went well.
Yeah, everything went well.
Good.
He is doing fine.
Shiny
for the
new
most
pearls.
Part.
Yeah. I mean, if you tell me I can't eat for 4 hours, I'm throwing punches. So
I get it. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, it's just not in the cards.
Do not take Chris's food away from him.
Yeah. Fasting, forget about it. Anyways.
I think that's what it came from. That's right. We were talking about intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
You're like, nope. I need breakfast. I need lunch. You need all the Hobbit meals, right?
Exactly. I eat 5 quote unquote meals. I've gotten a little better over the last couple of weeks. Not better, just because I'm not quite as active. I can't be. I've had a hard time knocking down my calorie count a little bit, but I used to take I used to have 5 meals a day, smaller meals: breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, and then usually something real small before bed. But that's when I was going to the gym and out and about and doing things. Now I'm very stationary, so I've had to really try to dial that back, which is, as everybody knows, it's hard. So
a Wii Fit adventure.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know. I hear it's fun. I tried it once. I almost died. So.
Oh yeah. Well, that's exciting.
Sorry, not Wii Fit.
Ring Fit. Adventure. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know what Wii Fit adventure was. I thought you maybe meant Ring Fit, but.
No, I mean, after going through the Wii U archive last week, I think just the Wii name is in my head.
John.
Yeah. So yeah.
What's your number 3?
Yeah, I should probably think about this for a second. Number 3 is probably going to be hard cheese. I think there are better versions of this game,
like the one it ripped off,
like the one called Mr. Dude that runs at a normal speed. Think of a third of the speed of hard cheese, and I think that's just a better way to comprehend what's happening.
Yeah.
Also, things that I always had a hard time grasping, Atari games and things that are happening in them, because they're working with such limited color palettes and pixel counts. So things that are moving or blinking just don't. I always have a hard time tracking them. So playing something like this is just tougher for me. So.
Oh yeah, a lot of moving and blinking happening in that game.
Yeah. Not any animation that we're used to. Yeah. So I'm gonna put hard cheese at number 3, as interesting as the this almost feels like the shareware era of consoles. As interesting as that is to me, I don't think I'd want to play this at all. Chris, number 3,
hard cheese.
Easy. You hard did cheese. Play it.
Yeah.
Straight to the bottom.
Yeah, this boy, the speed that is in this game. I get why it's hard for you to follow things that move and blink and again, we're used to a certain type of animation. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
But then to do it at like 10x speed, which is what this feels
Lightning
like,
speed.
it's too fast for what's going on.
I wonder if it's a computational thing, if it's usually like slower on the spectrum.
Yeah, I guess it could be. I don't know, but it was. I mean, it was rapid fire. And it just it just wasn't. Again, I'm trying to be 1983, which is
Yeah.
hard to because that's not a thing that I'm ever familiar with. But I'm trying to go back to think of games that were around about that era, and
Mr. Do,
well,
which
yeah,
looks considerably better.
yeah. It's just this game to me is it's borderline unplayable, and I'm trying to think of the
Sure.
what kind of input did the ZX Spectrum use? Well,
There's a bunch of different ones.
okay, it would be
It
like
was
a
typically a keyboard. It's
joystick
typically
or
a keyboard.
okay. Well, if keyboard is the way to play it, forget it because that's how I played it, and I assumed
Yeah.
that it would be better with something like a joystick or
Yeah.
something to that effect, which maybe you
They
can
they
play it
did make
on.
they did make joysticks that you could connect to the
Okay,
ZX Spectrum,
but
but
if keyboard is
it's
like
another
the
peripheral.
main go, absolutely
Yes.
not. Yeah, no,
Yes.
no, thank you. I that
Yes.
being said, I encourage you guys to try it on your keyboard on the software library page that I linked to the Discord.
At least you're just working with up, down, left, and right. Like you don't have to worry about jumping, or
You
I
gotta
guess you have to worry
you have
about
to have a
shooting
shoot
your
button.
laser. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's yeah.
Space. I don't know.
So,
Hmm.
John, what's your number two?
Number 2 this week is gonna be. This is a tough one. Think I'm gonna go with Anastasia: Adventures with Puka and Bartok. Um, just because it's a pretty simple point and click adventure. I do like the animation work in there. I did find that a host of a podcast I used to listen to is one of the voice actors in it.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so years ago, IGN was associated with a podcast duo known as the Digigods, who were um, movie reviewers. So there, I know one of them's still around doing stuff. His name is Wade Major. He is one of the voice actors in this game, and it's like his only acting credit, which is odd. But I looked at like his IMDb page, and sure enough, it has Anastasia as his sole acting credit. This specific game, not just the movie.
Right.
Although I think on another resume, it has Anastasia the movie as the acting credit, and that's definitely not what he was in. So, um, so yeah, I thought it was interesting to find Wade Major um in the list of actors. Anyways, uh, the point and click adventure is pretty simple in this, and I think the mini games um are also too simple and maybe repetitive.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think I'd find much joy in playing Anastasia Adventures with Puka and Bartok.
Yeah.
Chris?
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
We're gonna be neck and neck this week.
Yes.
Uh,
Holding hands all the way through.
yeah, I think that this game looks pretty.
Yeah.
But I am not
Surprised.
I'm not an adventure game fan really, period. So
Sure.
this and I have zero familiarity with the source material. I never saw Anastasia. My wife might like it more than I do.
Sure.
Um, I don't know what her familiarity is with Anastasia, but um, it's not my jam, not my thing.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's cool that the developers were able to get Meg Ryan, John Cusack, Hank Azaria et al. Um, to voice their their roles.
Yeah, that
In this
usually
game.
doesn't happen. It's usually like a substitute actor, someone who sounds like them. Like in the like most Toy Story things that aren't the movies. Um,
Kingdom
God,
Hearts
why
3.
can't? Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3. Woody is voiced by Tom Hanks's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like almost everything, anything that's Woody that isn't the movies is Tom Hanks's brother,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
weird. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Huh. Well,
It's
yeah.
neat that they got him for a CD-ROM game,
Yeah.
like
It's
a CD-ROM adventure game.
yeah, it's I mean, there's just nothing for me there's no interest in the source material. There's really no
Yeah,
interest in the game itself.
sure.
Eh, I can appreciate that something like this exists. I would
Hmm.
rather play it over hard cheese.
Yeah. Hey,
But that's
it's a lot of things.
that is where I stand on Anastasia Adventures with Puka and Bartok.
Great.
Give me your number one, John.
Yeah, my number one is East 9, Monstrum Nox.
Oh, you cheated.
I just want to go play more East. No, my number one this week is Jurassic Park. Um, I'm actually intrigued that it's a different game than the Super Nintendo one. As a kid, I owned the Super Nintendo version and played it a bunch and never could wrap my head around it. I think I was too young to understand what was going on, and it was
Ditto. Same.
too hard. Um, it's just a tough game. Just very, very tough. I was always confused when I went to first person stuff. That wasn't a thing I was used to in games at that time. Um, it always made me feel like it was underwater, and like looking through goggles, because that was like the vision it gave you. It's just like a little window in the middle of your screen that was already pretty small at that time.
Right.
You could barely see anything. Anyways, I think it's just interesting that there's a similar but different game made by a similar but different group of people at a company known as Ocean. Yeah, I think I would want to try this at some point just to see how it is. I think this is the first week where I wouldn't be like absolutely I would play this thing out of like any of these games.
Yeah, you're kind of on the fence just across the board a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
maybe on the fence with your best.
yeah, like even with Jurassic Park, it's like, but why wouldn't I just go to try to figure out the Super Nintendo version? Like, since that one to me is, I mean, something I've experienced with, something I could have a redemption arc with, as opposed to going for this Amiga and DOS version that I'm not, that I have no history with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not feeling too strong about anything this week.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm right there kind of with you.
yeah.
The Jurassic Park is my number one. I love the Jurassic Park movies.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to
They're
find a
great.
Jurassic Park game that I care about.
What about Trespasser, which was, I believe, a fighting game?
No, I don't think so. Primal Rage.
Yeah. I mean, Primal Rage. I'll play some Primal Rage, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the top down perspective. The SNES version I didn't care for much either. I think the SNES version looks aesthetically a lot more pleasing than um, the DOS version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can understand the PC probably has a little better functionality when it comes to the first person shooter
Yeah.
parts, just the general exploration and stuff like that. But I guess I'm just a sucker for brighter colors. To me, the entire game just looks so muted and bland. Um, again, I'm intrigued with the decision to start the game, what was essentially halfway through the movie. Um,
Yeah.
that seems like a strange decision, but then I'm also intrigued the other way. for the stuff that they incorporated in the game that wasn't in the movies but was part of the books. I think that's always cool to get more,
Yeah.
you know, source material in there.
You don't see that often from that era of games.
Right. So, but yeah, no, I enjoyed looking into this game, but I don't think it's a game that I would ever sit down and play. In fact, fully respecting that it's probably a better than the SNES version, just based on pure aesthetics. I would rather play the SNES one.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at on Jurassic Park. Another
Um,
same with you. A very ho hum week in terms of games that I would actually
yeah.
want to play.
It is a very weird week. I do want to make a quick correction to myself. Jurassic Park Warpath was the fighting game. Trespasser was the first person shooter where you play a a busty lady who's I think your health bar is on her chest in a tattoo. It's very weird.
Interesting decision.
Yep. Very, very odd. Anyways, Trespasser is a first person shooter on Site B. Very odd.
All right.
That's it. That's week 15 in the books.
There
You're
you go.
welcome, everyone.
Home of the angriest programmer.
I mean,
He's
it's pretty
visibly
bad.
angriest. Yeah, it is.
Pretty bad.
Oof. Anywho,
It's rough.
if you guys enjoy the show, if you guys have enjoyed previous shows, we invite you to go ahead and leave us a solid review on whatever listening app you are choosing to listen to this on. We also invite you to be a part of what we got going on here. Head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. Check out our Twitter, PG_show. Our email, pgshowinbox@gmail.com. We have our Discord linked below, and then we also have our YouTube channel as well, which I still have to get Corpse Party stuff up. I have the last video left, and I just have not had the time to get to it.
It's been sitting there like
I know it's
in the middle
me.
of all of our stuff. That's fine. There's plenty of Corpse Party for people to watch. There's also plenty of episodes of Procedurally Generated for people to listen to there.
That is correct. We've got we got a lot of stuff going up there. So please check it out. If you haven't subbed, head to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We plan on eventually getting to the point where we can put more stuff. Use YouTube in a different way as the channel continues to grow. So, yeah, that would be amazing. Let's
that'd be wonderful.
And speaking of growth, we mentioned the Patreon. If you guys want to be a part of this and help us hit some of our goals for what we have for this show, please head on over, patreon.com/procedurally generated. But we've got to quickly thank the patrons that we already have.
Yes,
we got to thank
we should
them.
thank them for giving their hard-earned money to us.
Yes,
to help this thing grow.
Exactly.
We are super grateful for the people who can give monetarily, but also if you want to give non-monetarily, just please share the show on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you feel comfortable with in Discord channels. If you see Chris streaming, send people over his way. That's a good way to spread the word about this show and Chris as a streamer.
Yes, absolutely. I the goal for both of us is to do this full-time content creation thing at some point, and I'm fully committed to Twitch, fully committed to the podcast, and we're just going to keep getting better at this. So,
damn right.
We have some people to thank. First off, by the way, I want to start this right now. Anybody who is on this list, thank you, 100%.
Yes.
Anybody who has been on this list, thank you, 100%.
Absolutely.
Even if you're no longer on the list, that doesn't thank you. The fact that you've considered giving us anything to help us do this means the world to us. We'll never be disappointed to see, patrons leave, just like we'll, always be welcoming new patrons.
Yes.
Life situations change. I think that this last year has taught us that. So while our monthly amount has dropped a little bit, which could be disappointing, not disappointed by it, because
Nope.
there's, again, we have a long ways to go. Like I said, people's situations change, people's tastes change. Sometimes it'll be something that we've done to maybe just not warrant your money anymore. That's fine. But thank you for helping us do anything related to the channel. If again, non-monetarily, if you've shared the channel, thank you guys. Thank you. We can't say that enough. So as we go through this list, the list will sound a little different, but that's all right. At our $25 platinum tier, we have Mecha Sprite. Thank you so much. We have at our $15 gold tier, we have X-Chin. We have at our $7 silver tier, we have Cassidy, Catherine, The Lone Wolf, Tim G, and Tori Glumac. Thank you guys so much.
It's a popular tier.
It is. And then at our $3 bronze tier, we have Aussie Gamer, Brandon Johnson, Jason Daphnis, John Carson.
It's a very dashing, handsome tier.
The true. I was about to say something, but my wife, I don't think is handsome or dashing. She is beautiful and vivacious.
Yes.
I hope I used vivacious right.
You'll find out.
Define vivacious.
Oh man, they're like, it's not a word.
Attractive, lively, and animated. Typically used of woman. I nailed it.
Sure.
She is that, exactly.
You don't need to be that graphic.
Right. Thank you guys so much for your help, your contributions, and all that good stuff. If you guys enjoy the show, we invite you to go ahead and join the patrons we already have. $3 a month gets you in. It gets you to be a part of the show. The benefits of being the $3 member. What do we got? We got access to the Discord. Well, technically everybody's got access to the Discord.
Sure.
Gets you the shout out at the end of the show. And it gets you voting power. What do we change this around? Because you have ad-free content and early access as well, right?
Yeah,
I think it does. I got to tweak that.
Well, no, early access is still for $7 and above, but I make the content available to all patrons.
Okay, so add the ad-free stuff available on.
It's not early, but it is ad-free.
So. Okay, perfect. There you go. Yeah. So I think that's all we've got.
Great. Chris, I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there.
Oh my God,
I believe that is on Sunday. Yeah. Just want to give you a little reminder. And happy Mario 3D World Day on Friday.
Yeah, I have to see if I'm going to have my games done by then. I might not be able to play
one of them.
Well, yeah,
you need to make sure one of them's done,
right?
At some point.
Blue Fire, man. Oh, I think I mentioned this. That game is not a 10-hour game. I really hope that I have it done and ready to go by Friday, but we'll see.
Man, you've got 3 days. Also, Mario's a game that's been out for 5 years. You're fine.
I've never played 3D World.
That's fine. And you can wait a few more days.
If I don't play it on day one, I won't be able to talk about it.
The only thing that you really need to be up on is the Bowser's Fury stuff, which I think you should probably finish everything else first.
True. That's a good point.
So,
yeah. All right. Well, we'll figure it out when we get there. So,
yes.
You guys have a fantastic week. Thank you again for all the support. I hope you guys enjoy the show. We will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.